We enter today's episode just one game away from the conclusion of the Season 5 regular season. As you can see, we are 53-28 heading into this final game against the Clippers. We ended the last episode here, and since then have had a pretty dang good stretch, and have currently won 6 of our last 7 games, which, if we scroll over here to team status, has put us at the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. No real dynamite team in the East. I mean, if the Hornets lose their last game, we could be talking about just 150-win team in the entire conference. So a pretty well-balanced conference this season, and we just so happen to be on top of it. And we've already secured the number 1 seed, but you'd like to see one more game from this team before we head into the playoffs. But ultimately, it's not a very important game for us. Over in the West, they'll have 3 50-win teams this year. These 3 have kind of been atop the West the last couple of seasons now. Of course, we know San Antonio's capable of being very good, and they absolutely thrashed us earlier this year. And then today we're playing the Clippers, who are currently the 5th seed in the West. They do have something to play for, because the 4 to the 6 is all right there by each other. So if they win, they could increase to the 4. If they lose, they might decrease to the 6 and have to play the Rockets, which I would think they don't want to do. Despite the fact that this isn't a super meaningful game for us, we still will keep the starters out there just because it's more fun to watch those guys. I will say that in this simulation, we did get a couple of injuries. So Mullins missed a few games here in this sim. Andre Stevens, was it Andre Stevens? I'm trying to remember. There was 2 injuries. No, Andre Stevens, his was just a couple of days and we didn't miss any games. But there was one more. But either way, both were pretty minor, and so they didn't affect our playing time all that much this last stretch of the season. Good news is we're all healthy. Assuming nothing goes wrong here in this final game, we should be a healthy team heading into the playoffs, which is, of course, is a very big deal. Last time we went into the playoffs without Patrick Baldwin. Don't know how much of a role that played in us losing that series, but that would have been one more good rotation player on the team. So, knocking on wood, hopefully we don't get any last minute injuries here in the final game, but let's get into that game now. One final thing I wanted to do prior to showing the final game is just show you a very quick preview of the draft. Now, because we flew so quickly through the season, I didn't have time to preview a ton of the draft, but there is one guy at the top who is very much so a consensus number 1 pick in the class. That is Samson here, a 6'9" 2-guard out of Duke, and his prospect card compares him to Michael Jordan, which is obviously very high praise, but my comparison would be Sidney Lowry. This guy's player card looks an awful lot like Sidney Lowry's. He's 6'9" at the 2-guard spot. He's got excellent perimeter defense. He's got excellent shooting. The one difference you could say between them is that Samson loves to be a driving threat, and he gets all the way to the rim often when he does drive, which I guess is what makes him maybe a little bit more similar to the MJ. But that is lofty praise for a player. He is projected to be 82 overall and have 13 badges to start out with the A+, athleticism, potential perimeter defense, and 3-point scoring. But there is really no weakness to this player. And I'll have a more full draft preview once the playoffs end, but I wanted to give you at least one player to keep your eye out for the next draft. He's going to be great. Now, let's get into the final game of the season. Now, because we're doing so much in this episode, we're going to focus just on the makes today, but this was quite the good game, so stay tuned, as this one, you could definitely tell that the Clippers needed this win. We'll just say that. Kelvin Fletcher here gets the scoring going, of course, in his second year. Remember him from the draft for sure. Lowry, a deep three, responds right back to knot it at 5 apiece. Reading another look for Lowry. This time, Fletcher with some solid defense working through the screens, but Lowry's going to hit it regardless. Brunson, little floater there. Powers, he's left all by his lonesome, and he's going to make the Clippers defense pay for that. Pick and roll. Down to Okongwu. He's going to slam it between a couple of Nashville defenders. More pick and roll action for LA. This time Brunson pulling up top of the key. Much like pretty much every team in the league, it seems like we have difficulty guarding the pick and roll. It's just a very difficult thing to guard, both in basketball and in 2K. Malachi, a nice three off the dribble there. Lowry stepping back mid-range, hits the shot to put us ahead 16-14 on the contest. Nice bounce pass inside by Kelvin Fletcher to get the assist. Malachi, a little floater in right over the top of the interior defense. Bounce pass again. Clippers loving that move here in the first. All knotted up at 18 apiece. Brunson gets that contested mid-ranger to go. He's very crafty, is Brunson, which helps him overcome his lack of size at the point guard spot. Jordan Poole took number 13 from Kelvin Fletcher. If I had one just tiny complaint about 2K, is that if you sign somebody that's a higher overall than somebody on your roster, they'll just automatically take their number, which I feel like should be reserved for kind of higher tier players. Like if you've never made an all-star game, or maybe if you just like kind of made one, I don't think you're the kind of caliber of player that would come in and steal your jersey number from a teammate. You know what I mean? But in 2K, you could have like a 77 overall player come in and steal the jersey number from a 75 overall player, which just doesn't make much sense to me. But just something you see all the time. That's why a ton of guys are changing jerseys in 2K, because somebody very slightly better than them got signed on the roster. But anyway, let's get back into the game as Jalen Brunson. It's the Clippers on top 30-28, but Lowry quickly ties it back up on the other end. Brunson defended by Davidson, just skirts right by him, pump fakes, and goes off glass for 2. Beating Ernest Augustine inside, he gets the basket. That one is a tipped pass. Davidson trying to get to the inside, but Brunson was right there. In transition, he steps back for the jumper. Cool. Top of the key. He's got the 3. Clippers now lead by 5. Ernest Augustine, top of the key. He answers it right back. Much more wide open this time. Cool. Going for another 3. He is heating up here. Can definitely string together a bunch of quick buckets. You got to have Lowry beat him on the other end, which is what he does here. Swings it over to Pope for 3. Nice assist there from the kid. We're knotted up at 40 apiece. Brunson just left too much space off ball. Gonna get 2 points and force the timeout call here by Coach Snyder. Oh, off the handoff, just firing right away, and he's hitting the deep three. He's feeling it a little bit on the jump shot today. Davidson. Now it's his turn to get going beyond the arc. The three ball has been the main source of our points here today, it feels like. And that is a beautiful slam by Okongwu. Jeez. Spinning and dunking right over the top of our defenders. That was nice, as was that and one by Moses Moody. First one of the ball game here. And he completes the play. Nashville leads by 5. Poole pulls up for 2. First half coming to a close. Clippers trying to end it with a bucket, and they're going to do just that with Rui Hachimura. It's going to make this a 1-point ball game at the half, 49-48. Slightly lower scoring here. The defenses were playing well. Let's get into half number 2. Brunson goes off glass to start the half. Lowry now bounce pass inside the Pope. That was beautiful. Pope with a nice finish as well. Brunson, just a tough guy to stop. I mean, Malachi's got 5 inches on him, but the craftiness of Brunson just kind of negates the size advantage at times here. Mullins with it from the elbow. Swings it to Lowry. Space from deep, and he knocks it down. Brunson, he loves those pump fakes, man. It gets him a lot of buckets there on the interior. Mullins swings to Stevens, inside to Lowry. And a beautiful dunk with the foul as well. Off the cut. He completes the play. Powers steals it off Brunson. Blows by Michael Porter Jr. and then slams it in transition with 2 hands. It's exactly the kind of plays that made me want to draft Lamont Powers in the offseason. Stevens there was left all alone. No respect by the Clippers defense on that possession. And now Powers with another transition bucket. Rui on the cut. Got free off the screen. Lowry turning in, fading from the mid-range. That was a beaut. Porter cuts to the basket, and Moses Moody could not fight through the screen. And now here's Moody just handing the ball right to Kelvin Fletcher. The Clippers get the transition basket. And I've cut this lead down to 7. Spinning is Lowry. He stops and pops for 2. Nice drive there. Now he gets doubled. Goes inside to AC Stevens, who finishes over the top. Good thing there. He's got about a foot on the man. Davidson brings this back up to a 13-point advantage for the Sound. Jordan Poole. Nice drive. Kind of blew right by his man there. Here he's going for it again, this time. Another bucket. To show some better defensive urgency there. I know this game isn't really meaningful for us, but dang. Cool. Gets the screen by Okongwu, and it just stopped Moses Moody in his tracks. Moody having a little bit of a tough time out there today. This Poole hits the 3. Back down to 6. Davidson with the screen. Nice pass to the inside. Now Lowry steps inside the 3-point arc and drains the mid-ranger. High screen and roll for LA. Poole gets it to Ochai Agbaji eventually after Zubac. Got the entry feed. Now we're going pick and roll on the other end, and Ernest Augustine with the slam. Cool. He's been kind of just driving by our guys all night. Needs some better defensive effort there. Brunson and Wolves having just a little bit too easy of a time on their drives, and there we see Malachi Pope give him a taste of their own medicine with that drive. And he gets the and one. Nashville leads by 8. Poole just decides to put up the contested 3, and he drains it. Malachi Leaner enters back, but that one's just for 2. Zubac's in the post. Finds Jordan Poole coming off a screen, and he hits the catch and shoot 3. Leads cut to 4. Oshai Baji left way too much space on the perimeter. He can definitely hit those 3s with regularity. Zubac, he slams home 2 more. Davidson in transition finds the running big man, and that gives us back the lead. But Washington has played themselves back in. Things were looking pretty good in the 3rd quarter, but now in the 4th, we've got to come away and build our lead all over again. Poole gets the double, finds a man wide open on the wing, and Clippers lead 93-91. Davidson on the drive, finds Pope in the corner. That one was pure. Fletcher now, shot clock winding down. That 3 falls in response. These teams going back and forth here in the 4th quarter. Neither team able to really build a run, and we're just trading 3s right now. Poole going for another one, and hitting another one. Somebody's got to start building up a run here, you'd think. Brunson finds Fletcher, and Moses Moody just gave him way too much space off ball. That's a shooter, man. You can't give him that much space. Brunson, a deep 3, and he hits it, and all of a sudden the Clippers lead by 9. There's the run I was talking about. Malachi tries to stop the run right there with that 3. Porter swings it to Brunson. Mid-range shot falls right down the barrel. 4 minutes left. LA leads by 8. But we're not done yet. Lamond Powers for 3 in the corner. Now in transition. Sidney Lowry. Tough layup falls for him. It's a 1-basket game. Just like that once more. Offensive rebound for LA. Double comes for Brunson, and that leaves Calvin Fletcher way too much space. Back to 6. Lowry with it. Gets the Andre the Giant screen, and his leaning shot falls, forcing a LA timeout. They lead by 4. Lowry again, this time on the drive, hop step layup. Brings it down to 2. Minute left in this ball game. Brunson finds Fletcher, and again left too much space. I mean, that's a guy whose whole game is built around shooting. We can't be leaving him that much space off the ball, man. Doubles come. This time it's going to be stolen. Last time it worked out in our favor, but LA was more ready for the pass this time. We're forced to foul. Kongwu will hit 2 for 2. So we need a 3 here to stay in this ball game. It's going to be a miss by Andre Stevens. Mullins on the board, though, swings it to Malachi Pope, who simply does not miss at the end of these ball games. After another foul, we send Brunson to the line. He hits the first free throw. Second one falls as well, and we'll use our last timeout. But it's just a 3-point ball game. A triple here could tie things up. Lowry to Andre Stevens, who drains it with 3 seconds left. It's tied at 117 apiece. 2 clutch 3s down the stretch have put this game into overtime. Malachi Pope, as he so often does. It's his shot, and then Andre Stevens gets us into overtime. Malachi getting doubled here to start the period. That Mullins basket is off, but Lamond Powers was right there. Clean it up. Lowry Got some space off the screen and hits the baseline jumper. He's up to 42 points on the day. Just another day in the office for our superstar wing. Pope dishes to Mullins. Out to Lowry, left by his lonesome. He drains the triple, and we lead by 5 here in OT halfway through it. Brunson, that's just a tough shot. You got to give respect to that. Lowry off the screen, spinning and getting inside. What a drive. My goodness, that was pretty. Here, he gets inside again and goes off glass 4-2. Still lead by 5. Clippers get a 3. Michael Porter Jr. splashes it in. Clippers not done yet. Lowry, step back jumper. He has just taken over this overtime period. The last few minutes and decided that we were going to win this game. Porter Jr. would miss that shot. That would start the whole foul roulette here, and I'll just save you the time. It would ultimately pretty much just be us trading free throws for baskets. In the end, Nashville will win 136-132 in overtime, spoiling the Clippers, who really needed this win to avoid falling to 6. Now, the other teams, that they're tied with could also lose, so they're not guaranteed 6th place by any means. Lowry is your player of the game. Unsurprisingly, he took over the game down the stretch and was just good throughout, as he so often is. Taking a look here at the box score, you're going to see that late game foul roulette did help Sidney Lowry out a little bit, as he ended with 57 points in this one, along with 12 assists. Malachi Pope, 27 and 10 on 14 shots. Powers and Augustine, surprisingly, are the other 2 players in double digits today. Mullins just shot 3 times all game. But, I mean, just a dominant performance by Lowry. And now we've got ourselves stats and awards for Season 5. Darren Anthony ends up your MVP, 25 points a game, 12.5 rebounds, 6 assists with almost 4 stocks. Yeah, he is an absolute monster. I think the debate between Anthony and Lowry at 1 in our first draft is still a very good one. Of course, we love Lowry here on this channel, but man, Darren Anthony has been insane. Pavel Bagaric ends up being your rookie of the year with 15.5 points, 4 rebounds, and a little over 3 assists. Jaime Jaquez is your 6th man. 12, 7, and 4. Did not shoot very well, but had good counting stats. Defensive player of the year is Wemby here with 28, 13, and 3. He's insane, for sure. We have seen him firsthand this year. And then most improved is Grady Dick in Toronto. Clutch player of the year is Scoop. Nice. And then Mike Campbell wins your coach of the year with the Seattle Sonics. Executive of the year also with Seattle. All NBA, Darren Anthony, of course. We've seen his stats. Jokic, 24, 10, and 8 on insane percentages. These big man at the top of the league, they're dominating. Even Giannis is truly a big man with 22, 12, and 6. Scoop, first team All-NBA with his stats. Of course, also won Clutch Player of the Year. Ja Morant, 24, 6, and 8. We got Brandon Miller with 26, 7, and 5. Shea with 24, 5, and 8. And then Mo with 18.5, 12, and 3 here on the second team. Third team, Darius Garland, 26, 3, and 8. Amen Thompson back in the All-NBA with 27 and 8. De'Aaron Fox gets there with 24, 4, and 7. Our own Sidney Lowry with 25, 5, and 5. And then Cade Cunningham, we're very familiar with this guy as well. 23, 6, and 5.5 assists. So Sidney Lowry gets his second All-NBA appearance, third team for the second time as well. All defensive, we have Amen, Edwards, Giannis, Mobley, and Wemby. That's actually not a bad all defensive first team at all. Anthony Edwards is kind of like an inconsistent defender. I don't know if he's consistently, all NBA, but these other guys are all definitely there. So a lot of the times the all defense teams are pretty trash, but I feel like they did a lot better this year. SGA, I don't know if he's quite that caliber, but Guillermo Rodriguez, interesting. All rookie first team is Pavao, Ben Manis, Josh Cameron, Kelvin Keller, and Jermaine Bell. With Sheldon Starks, you probably didn't make it because of an injury. As you can see, I did change him to small forward for this year just so that he could get some more playing time. Lamont Powers ends up making all rookies second team. We're going to take a look at everybody's stats here in a second, but here's a quick preview of his at year's end. Now we're going to talk about player stats for the regular season for our team, just going by player. Lowry, we've already seen 25, 5, and 5. Really similar to last year. Points are up a little bit, rebounds as well. Assists pretty much the same. A little bit worse on the efficiency, but still, great efficiency for the volume that he provides for us. Malachi Pope ends up with just under 15 points a game. Overall, really, really similar. I mean, you were hoping for a year 2 jump, obviously, but ends up just putting together a very similar year. Efficiency up a little bit more so with the 3-pointers, but very similar minutes-wise and very similar production-wise here in year 2 for Malachi. Same could be said here for Francis Mullins. His scoring is right in the same spot. He got 1 more rebound per game, but his efficiency definitely dropped here. 5 points for both field goal and 3-point percentage. Davidson ended up starting 5 games on the year for us due to injury, and he's the one guy on the team whose efficiency actually took a jump here this season. He's definitely taken well to his 28 minutes a game. So glad to see that from him. Andre Stevens has kind of been this guy for a couple of years now, but again, just kind of the common theme of the team, efficiency down a bit. Lamont Powers ended up starting 70 games for this team and provided a really good role player for us. I'm very excited to see how he will develop in the off season. Moses Moody, efficient as always, shot 44% from 3 and 50 from the field. I've always been a big fan of what Moses Moody has done on this team, and just kind of by the nature of us continuing to get better and better, he's been taken out of our starting lineup, but that is not an indictment on him at all. It's just more trying to get guys with maybe higher ceilings a little bit more minutes. James played a little bit due to injury, shot really well. AC Stevens had his, worst year with us. Just shooting wise, he was just over 50%. He hasn't been that bad since his rookie year. Volume wise, I'm not too concerned with his volume. Him scoring is not the priority at all on this team. But you do, want him to be better with his looks. He doesn't get a ton of them, but shooting just 50%, you want a little bit better than that. Augustine here was pretty similar to the rookie year. I honestly didn't notice much in the way of development from him, but another guy that we just don't really ask to score that much at all, and I like what he does for the team in his limited role. Going forward now, let's look at some advanced stats, see how we look in certain areas. PER, obviously going to be led heavily by Sidney Lowry. Mullins at second, Pope at third. No surprises there. AC Stevens at fourth. He's always looked good in the advanced stats. Same top three you're seeing here. I imagine these guys, these three lead the team by quite a lot, and so you expect them to lead us here. True shooting percentage, Moses Moody was our best shooter. Again, not a surprise. He's always been really, really efficient for us. Sidney Lowry after that, the only two players above 60. Effective, we only had one player above 60, and that was Moses Moody. Rebound right, Kevon Looney, and he played before he got to this team. Mullins, AC Stevens, pretty good. Ernest Augustine, right up there with Andre Stevens. Malachi Pope was the best point guard in terms of assist rate, which is no surprise. Nobody was really close. If you're talking about guys that actually played for us, Lowry is the next closest at 19, so that's a pretty big drop off. That's kind of what you miss when you trade away Sam Hudson like we did. Turnover rate, Moses Moody led us at 12.3. I don't mind that. I feel like we're a pretty good team, and we'll see it here in just a few minutes at avoiding turnovers here in the league. 8.5 pure point rating for Pope is fantastic. He's a very, very good player. Usage percentage. This is something that I need to mess with for next year, because I feel like Lowry should be closer to 30. Pope should be closer to 25. Mullen should be closer to 25 as well. And so I think I got to take a look at some usage before next year. Estimated wins added. Lowry had twice as much as anybody else. Mullen second. Pope third. No surprise. Davidson and Andre Stevens round out the top 5. And then we had two guys get 1.3 points per weighted shot in Moody and Lowry. Lastly, here we're going to go through team stats, just see where we ranked in the league among different things. Third in the league in wins. First, of course, in the East. Points. This is another thing I want to look at. This is too low. We need people like 114 should not be number one in the league. And so I'm going to do some research as to what better sim stats are. I think that could also be, contributing to the fact that maybe we're a little bit low scoring this year. So yeah, I'll be taking a look at that for sure. But third in the league still, so very high up there, just not as high as you want it to be. Points allowed per game, we allow the 10th most points per game in the league. We had the 8th best differential. So, number one in the league, but still, in terms of differential, there were 3 teams in the East ahead of us. So for the last couple of years, we've had a record that reflects higher than our differential does. In terms of shooting wise, we shot pretty average, it looks like here. Yep, we're smack dab in the middle. 3-point percentage wise, 8th best in the league, and volume wise, we were 8th best. So hey, there you go. That's right where you want to be. Free throw percentage, probably not our strong suit. It hasn't been yet. Still bottom 7 or 8 in the league. 4th best at getting offensive rebounds in the league, and 7th best at getting defensive rebounds. Rebounding is a strength of ours. Assist wise, top 5. There you go. Malachi Pope is definitely pretty much single-handedly solves that problem for us. Steals, we're going to be towards the bottom. Yeah, bottom 6. Blocks, we're going to be bottom 7 or 8. Turnovers, this is what I'm talking about. We are the best in the league at avoiding turnovers. That's what I like to see. Fouls, looks like we're kind of middle of the pack. We fouled the 13th most. So yeah, right in the middle of the pack. You're in the league. Converting points off of turnovers, we are just inside the top 10. And then second chance points, not our strong suit there. We get good offensive rebounds, but we do not score off of them very well. Points in the paint, not our strong suit. We have a lot of shooters on the team. We get a lot of our shots from the perimeter. Bench-wise, 9th worst here, with for a bench percentage of 6th worst in the league. We get a lot of our production from our starters, which I'm totally fine with, honestly. In terms of defense, we allow the 4th highest field goal percentage in the league defensively. Doesn't seem like we're that bad of a defense, but we also allow the second highest 3-point percentage, I should say. So defensively, doesn't look like we're quite there yet. It's kind of strange to me because you look at our, we have A+ defense here. Andre Stevens, he's not great. He's just B. But we have A here, A here, A-, A-, A. He doesn't play. Augustine's not that great. And then Powers, he's just a rookie. He'll eventually be good, but he's not quite there yet. So I think yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should be a better defense than we are, but I think it'll come along. We still got guys developing better defense. So either way, number 1 in the East. Let's figure out who we're playing by simulating the play-in here. We're going against Boston as the number 8 seed. Why do we get the worst pulls? Is somebody injured? I know they had injuries throughout the year. Are they injured now? No. We win the number 1 seed, and this is our prize, ladies and gentlemen. Facing Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Robert Williams. Point guard, they're not great, but they got a really good defender at least. He's going to make things difficult for Malachi Pope. Oh, man. We are getting the worst pulls in the first round. Detroit got 5th only last year because they had some injuries. Now they didn't even make it this year, which is pretty wild to think about. Toronto did end up making the playoffs, so we will get their first round pick this year. And so, all right, we've got a tough round 1 matchup, man. It's no sure thing. You'd think as a number 1 seed, you'd feel really good about a round 1, and I still feel good about our chances of winning. But man, the Celtics are going to be a lot tougher to beat than I think a lot of other 8 seeds here in the league. But that's all I've got for the episode. We'll be back in the playoffs with the next one. Until then, sound up.